You like working as a babyface?
Babyface is very hard. I like being a heel. I don't want to say like I'm a natural heel, but Baby Doll certainly is a natural heel. Um, for me, it was just easier. Plus, then I'd worked with Jake a lot and made a few road trips with him, and was able to learn a lot about being a heel and slowing down and making the crowd look at you and making the crowd hating you because they are looking at you. Baby faces are, I don't want to say fake, because to be a good baby face, people have to absolutely believe your sincerity. With me, I to be a baby face, I always had to have makeup on and my, like look presentable. You just couldn't have like that rolled out look like you didn't care and just put on glasses and went. When you're a baby face, you have to make sure that you're dressed as a baby face. Otherwise, people get very disappointed in you, and they don't believe your sincerity. And as a baby face, they've got to believe that sincerity. And it was hard for me to be, that sincere all the time. But working with Dusty, it was fun in the fact that his promos were off the wall. You never knew what he was going to say, and he came up with some crazy stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, my mom's listening to this, my dad's listening to this. And especially because Sam and I had just started dating and stuff. And it's just like, oh Lord. Oh well. It was fun though. It was so much fun.
How'd you get along with Dusty?
Oh, how did I get along with Dusty? Um, really well. I mean, he loved the character of Baby Doll. I was like his Marilyn Monroe. I was someone that he could do a lot with my character. I was very versatile, from being like really, really super hated to like being super over baby face. He was able to go that would be like a full 360, of everybody's emotions, everybody's ups and downs, and believing me and not believing me, and believing I'm like the Jezebel off the street, to being the all American girl. I mean, he was able to do all of that with my character.
How'd you like working with Jim Cornette?
Cornette was brutal. I mean, um his promos definitely stung. They getting called fat and overweight and ugly for weeks on end, being like in your 20s, it gets a little rough. But I mean, the paychecks were good. I think we made more money July of '86 than Cornette ever made in his whole life. So, um, if anything, he'll remember me as when the weather changes and when he goes to his bank account.
You ever tell him to ease up, or it's just business? You got to deal with it.
Oh, it's business, and you've got to deal with it. We've always been friends and friendly and the whole thing. And even though our political ideology is not the same,
Mhm.
and whenever I see him, it's like, okay, politics set aside. We're not discussing politics at all. And then we're perfectly okay. Otherwise, he would know that I was right and he was wrong, and we just have to go on from there.
Can we talk about Sam Houston, or do you want to just skip over that?
No, Sam's good. Sam's having has just recently got married to a beautiful woman down on the other side of Charlotte, living his best life. I wish him nothing but happiness. I mean, life is too short to go through it, being mad and ugly and hateful. And my husband now, Chad Bird, says that exes are exes for a reason. And I may not believe in that, but I believe in my husband. And so Sam has his life and I have mine, and we have two beautiful girls. And I see him once in a while. We'll get booked on the same show, but that's about it. We'll kind of wave at each other from across the building, but we're good. And I wish him nothing but happiness.
So why did you leave? Why did you leave JCP?
Um, I had just gotten married to Sam, and they had opened up the satellite office there in Kansas City, and they were sending Sam there. And I didn't want to be married and live halfway across the country from my husband. So I asked Dusty to send me to Kansas City also. And they ended up pretty much fired me because I got married. So I got sent to Kansas City, and we stayed there for maybe like 2.5 months, maybe 3 months. It wasn't very long. And then we moved to Dallas, and Sam started working with WWF.
There was no money in Kansas City, right?
Oh, it was awful. It was the beginning of the winter. I think we were there like November, December, part of January, something like that. The weather was miserable. The promoters didn't want to promote us, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But whenever you go into a town and you go to the convenience store to get snacks and drinks and everything to take to the building, and the people recognize you, like, hey, you're the wrestlers from TV, you're the wrestlers from TV. And it's like, yeah, we're at the Civic Center right down the road, just at like 7 o'clock. We didn't know there was wrestling. And then you go to the town and there's like no advertising set up. You don't see any posters, you don't see any cards. The flashing sign out front of the building isn't saying that wrestling tonight. And then you go into the concession, or you're like walking around, and they're selling the posters for 25 cents each in the concession because they didn't put out the posters.
Who was in charge of Kansas City then?
I believe Bulldog Bob Brown was part of the office, but I'm really not sure. I didn't really meet a lot of people in there. We just kind of, because I was working with Warlord, and then as a heel, and then Sam was a babyface. Really didn't see the office that much. We went in, we did promos. We were trying to. I think we were more concerned that we were having to do 300 to 600 mile road trips. And road trips were awful. Just Garden City, Kansas was one where it was literally 600 miles one way.